We'll resume our meeting and have to welcome the different deputations and individuals. You can wear a headset and choose the channel accordingly. Channel 0 is the floor, Channel 1 is Cantonese, Channel 2 is English. So deputations and individuals, please take note. Your written submissions and oral submissions are not covered by the legislative powers and privileges. I will invite speakers to speak at 3 minutes apiece. You'll need to stop when the bell rings, so please be concise. Of course, if you have any supplemental information, you can do so in writing. Ms. Chen Pak-kei, Secretary, Legislators, I'm speaking on behalf of St. Stephen's Catholic Kindergarten. I support 15-year free education because this is the most basic level of education, and I would like to highlight professional development and teacher remuneration. We are now facing a crisis, a turnover crisis. Teaching and learning is very important. If we cannot retain our talent, then how do we ensure our children have quality education? Kindergarten teachers are a hard-working group. We continuously enroll in further education. Teachers with undergrad degrees make up some more than 90%. And when you compare that to the entry level of the remuneration entry level of primary and secondary students, it's 20,000, but for kindergarten teachers it's only 15,000. So our work and value is not recognized. It deeply affects our morale. So we would urge the government to implement 15-year free education and establish a pay scale with reference to primary, secondary school teachers with undergraduate degrees, and to express respect and support for kindergarten teachers. We'd also finally like to reiterate that I support the Alliance 8 proposals. Thank you. Ms. Fong Siman, I'm speaking on behalf of St. Thomas Catholic Kindergarten. Hong Kong is one of the few places that does not include kindergarten teaching in basic teaching, and I am very disappointed. The government has a responsibility to provide comprehensive education. I'm also a parent, but the voucher system only provides very minimal subsidy, and I don't see any significant assistance. So I would like to see the voucher system scrapped, and there should be full subsidy for non-profit making kindergartens, and we should also retain private independent kindergartens. We'd also need to establish a pay scale for kindergarten teachers in order to retain our professional staff. For frontline staff, they can continue their education, but it will take 6 to 8 years, so they deserve recognition as well. The CE, Mr. Leung, in his funding resource deployment, he's only providing scholarships for bright students. The kindergarten teachers have been working silently over the years. They also need professional development in order to have a career development. Once again, we have a unanimous voice and unanimous action. Ms. Tan Siu-mui next. Secretary, Chairman, Legislators, I'm speaking on behalf of Chung Catholic Kindergarten. We support and We support the Alliance 8 proposals. We'd like to see the voucher system scrapped, and we want to see full subsidies for kindergarten education. The voucher value is very minimal, and it is only adjusted according to the composite consumer inflation index. So it does not help in enhancing quality.
Take 2013-14 as an example. The voucher value has been increased from $1,710. So it means that the increase is very minimal, and it can't help lessen the financial burden on parents. When the government is sitting on such a huge fiscal surplus and claims that it is devoting a lot of resources to education, it is in fact neglecting the needs of the kindergarten education. We hope that the kindergarten education can be included as part of basic education. Next, Ms. Kwok Cho-kyu, Secretary. I speak on behalf of the Tai-fai North District Elderly Childhood Education Principal Association. Our association believes that the early childhood education is the beginning point for children's education, and teachers play a very important role. But regrettably, because of historical and cultural reasons, early childhood education has not been given due attention by the administration. I think we need to establish a good system for kindergarten education in Hong Kong. The association likes to put forward the following suggestions and comments. First, the administration should establish a professional mechanism, qualification mechanism for KG teachers. Second is to improve the KG teacher and staff complement and reduce the teacher-student ratio and hire posts like clerks and other support staff. Thirdly, and to implement localized education research and devote more resources to that for the schools, and also develop a school-based curriculum. That's also very important. Fourthly, to develop professional development ladder to groom more talents in the field. Fifthly, to establish as soon as possible a dedicated committee on 15-year free education. We are too aware that a child is like a blank sheet of paper, and the KG teachers have the duty to help them grow healthily. And we hope that the administration can pay more attention to the needs of teachers. Next one, Mr. Vincent Zhang. I'm from the DAB. The DAB supports 15-year free education, and this has also been a consensus reached by the community, and the administration should put more resources into the education of children. 2 years ago, I participated in discussions on 15-year free education. Now, some time has passed, and the government has not been responding proactively on the issue. I would like to raise two questions for the Secretary. The first is about rent of school premises. We know that many KGs are located like in public housing estates and private residential development. The rent differs. So how is the government providing subsidy to these KGs? And can the government respond on this point? The second is on tuition fee levels. It now differs a lot. Some charge low fees, and some charge as high as some $40,000 per year. So how is going that going to be handled when 15-year free education is provided? All along, I've heard that it takes some time before 15-year free education can be provided. But in the interim period, say within the next 2 years, can more assistance be provided to the sector, like giving pay subsidy to teachers or raising the value of the voucher? Thank you, Chairman. Ms. Tung Wang Pik-fong, Principal. Chairman, Secretary, members, I speak on behalf of Cam Lam Catholic Kindergarten. I was born and bred in Hong Kong, and I was educated here. I'm very happy to have Hong Kong as my home, but in a cosmopolitan city like Hong Kong, I have all along worked in this field. I had the privilege to attend various seminars. I always raised these several points. First, is education being paid the due importance it deserves in Hong Kong? Every child needs good development. There is a Chinese saying that the education of a child is very important, and teachers should have the heart to serve children. In 2006, I attended a meeting of the EDB. There were 10 principals there at that time. The chairman then raised and asked us what demands we had. I raised 3 points, but over the past years, they have not been materialized at all. First is how to respect KG teachers in terms of their remuneration and their training. Secondly, if there are special children with special education needs, these children don't have a bright prospects, and there is nothing we can do as teachers to help them. This is still a big question mark hanging over my head. And I'm asking myself, how can I help these children? And thirdly, how can a child enjoy or study in an education system which is fair and just? Thank you, Ms. Tung Pik-fong. Next is Ms. Tam Wai-kwan, a principal. Secretary, Chairman, members. I am from a kindergarten in Taipei. I fully support the 8 proposals put forward by the Alliance. I've looked at them again today, and these actually represent dreams of myself as a teacher. Should I wait till 80 before my dreams are realized? I hope that these dreams can be realized during my lifetime. I want to talk about the 4th point, developing a professional development ladder. I've been climbing up that ladder for a long time. I'm really exhausted now. I think the government has been striving hard to provide training for KG teachers, and universities have been providing such training. I've also spent tens of thousands of dollars in my own training. But what do I get in return? I hope that quality education can be provided. After the voucher scheme has been implemented, the recommended normative salary scale has been abolished. And because the KG teachers, after receiving so much training, are disappointed about their career prospects, and they have dropped out of the trade and they become self-employed, selling snacks instead. So this is most tragic. Have we looked at deep down the reasons why this is the case, why these KG teachers resign from their posts? The reasons are these: long working hours, heavy workload. Theoretically, they should work for 8 to 9 hours, but they work much longer than that. And KG teachers have a particularly a high teaching load. They have to take care of the children apart from teaching. And then we also act as social workers. And often when parents have problems, they come to teachers instead of social workers or the police. Our head teacher and principals and so on, they have devoted so much, but then their remuneration is not guaranteed. What career prospects do we have? Now, many teachers told us that we asked parents to educate or spend time with their children. But what about ourselves? We work very long hours when we get home. Our children have already gone to sleep. And then we carry loads of documents to and from home to work on our work, even at home. So we hope that the administration can establish a professional development ladder. Next one, Ms. Chow Sok Wai, Principal. Secretary Chairman, good morning. I'm from Chinwan Our Lady Kindergarten. I fully support the 8 proposals of the Alliance and the provision of 15-year free education. We have done so much in our work and profession. Do you recognize the work we do? I think professional recognition is very important. Primary school and secondary school teachers, they have good professional recognition. Aren't we teachers also? Aren't we pouring out our heart to serve our children? We are just doing the same as they are. We inspire our children, but what we get in return, we don't get any professional recognition. We don't have respect from others. So our peers are very miserable. We don't know what we are working for. What we hope that what we work based on our mission, our love for the children. It is because of this we can survive till today. Money cannot compensate for everything we've done. Now, members here, you have children who have studied in kindergartens before, and I think you must feel strongly about kindergarten education. And the love we show to our children reflects our professionalism. The KG teachers are very hardworking. When they joined in the beginning, the sector in the beginning, they might not be very qualified, but they never give up. They work during daytime and then further their studies during their leisure. And what we aim to do is to provide quality education for our children. We hope to help them lay a good foundation for their life in future. Actually, there are a lot of double income families, and parents depend very much on the teachers in KGs to educate their children. So if we can build an environment of love for our children, we are already doing a good job. If the teachers are not loved themselves, how can we teach our children how to love? I think professional recognition is essential. So finally, I urge the administration to face up to the issue of the problem of pay scale for teachers and our operational difficulties, and to implement 15-year free education as soon as possible, and not only undertake a feasibility study. Thank you, Mr. Yip Man. Good morning. I'm from Hong Kong Christian Service Legislative Nursery School Parents Representative Committee. The parents are very dissatisfied that the administration is neglecting the life of the middle income. We are part of the middle income family. We are born and bred in Hong Kong. And if we are to have a family, we are made slaves of our homes or property. So under existing policies, we are sort of double income families, and we belong to the middle class, and we have to pay tax, and we're not benefiting from any policies of the government. And under the voucher scheme, we still have to pay for $2,000 to $3,000 in tuition fees for our children, and we have to pay mortgage, and we are in a very miserable state. In January 2001. Or 2011, we took part in a march to the old CGO. My eldest son was already 5 years old. And I don't think my son would benefit from the welfare benefit of the government. And last year, we were privileged to visit the CE's residence during the Lunar New Year, and we sort of appreciated his initiative to provide 15-year free education. But surprisingly, the policy address was very disappointing in terms of the art education policy. So is the government going to say to us that in the next year, free education will not be provided? How many more years will you take to conduct a feasibility study? And I'm sure that Hong Kong people would not give birth to a second child or third child under that circumstance. Now, I mentioned about double-income families, and quality whole-day KG education is very important to us. And I'm very happy that I could identify such a KG. But I have to travel from To Kwa Wan to Lei Chak Ok, while my son has to travel from To Kwa Wan to Lei Chak Ok to study. I hope that the administration can pay utmost importance to early childhood education and provide more subsidies. Now that the government has such a huge fiscal surplus and is spending $480 million on sending elite students for overseas studies, why don't you spend the amount to relieve our burden? Next one, Millie Khan Mei Ling from kindergarten in Chung Kwan O. I fully support the 8 proposals of the Alliance. We ask the government to provide 15-year free education and also to come up with a good professional system for teachers so that they can have a reasonable working environment, a reasonable remuneration, and continuing training opportunities so that they can carry out their work efficiently. I would like to focus on the improvement of staff complement in kindergartens. I urge that support teachers be hired in kindergartens to ease the workload of teachers and to lessen the adverse impact on teachers because of long working hours. And also, I would like the government to establish a professional development ladder and also hire head teacher and supervisory staff to enhance the teaching quality. And a full-time accounting officer and clerk should be brought in to cope with the workload arising from the voucher scheme and help the kindergarten to manage the finances of kindergarten efficiently. In fact, the resources and finances of kindergartens are limited, and we spend most of our funds on pay for teachers, and we don't have extra money to spare to fund the employment of clerks or supportive staff. If we have that spare money, we can do it only through exploitation of our teachers or principals, i.e. paying less these people. I think the teachers now many of them are earning excessive low pay. Please, Secretary, don't exploit the KG teachers anymore. I hope that the administration can seriously listen to our views and take heed of our views and provide free 15-year free education. Next one is Ms. Fu Weiling, Principal, Secretary, Chairman, members. I support the 8 proposals of the alliance. In the number 2 paper of LegCo, in page 2-4, I must say that the voucher scheme has not achieved its effectiveness, and the aims were originally enhancing teaching quality, and it is a burden of parents. But then I don't think it has eased the burden of parents, and that is why in the past 5 years, there were many protests asking for a review of the voucher system. The voucher scheme adds a lot of administrative burden to KGs. Say, for new policy initiatives like the new secondary school curriculum implemented in 2008, they always come with new resources. So that's why we'd also ask for new resources under the voucher scheme. And under the scheme, the teachers have to complete their sort of training within 5 years, and that adds to the burden. The qualifications required so far are only basic, and then teachers and principals still have to further their studies, and they have to sort of participate in immersion courses and so on. And they have to shoulder their own financial burden in furthering their studies.
And the morale has been dampened, and this would affect the commitment to kindergarten education. Actually, you are lowering the quality instead of enhancing the quality. So I hope you will set up a qualification framework and salary structure for KG teachers. Incorporate them into the education system so that you show your commitment in helping parents and enhancing quality of education. And I'm not only talking about the fee burden, I'm talking about long-term plans. For example, ratio between population and school places, and also long-term curriculum development, as well as constant update of software and hardware, and also localization of research. I hope with concerted efforts, we can have more resources for KG education. Next one, Leung Lai Ching. Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Eddie Ng, the PS, members. I represent the Non-Profit Making Kindergarten Council of Hong Kong. I am Leung Lai Ching. I subscribe to all the aspirations of the Alliance. We speak with one voice and act with one heart. I'd like to thank the deputations who have spoken. I share your feelings. I am involved in kindergarten education. I have started as a KG teacher. After the voucher scheme started, we saw that the administration started to pay attention to early childhood education. As a matter of fact, this is the fundamentals of education for human beings. We hope the administration will also come up with a timetable for implementing 15-year free education, and also to provide comprehensive subsidy to early childhood education. I'm the chairperson of the council. I can certainly share the feelings of the colleagues. I can see that headmasters and teachers are working extremely hard. We should therefore provide 15-year free education so we have better manpower levels, so teachers can face every day with a light heart, so that they can pay enough attention to each and every child who are masters of our society. So please pay heed to our views, and please think about the future of KG workers. Thank you very much. Ms. Kwang Man Chi, Secretary, Chairman, and members. I represent the Academy Kindergarten. I am a KG teacher. I agree with the 8 aspirations of the Alliance. As a teacher, I would particularly like you to lower the ratio between teacher and students. As many have said, KG education is the most important kind of basic education. People would say you just teach young children to be literate, isn't it, in a kindergarten? But is that as simple as teaching 1, 2, and 3 and the alphabet to young children? In fact, we also have to pay heed to the moral education of young children. Say if we go for a half-day school, there are just 3 hours each day, and the ratio is now 1 to 30, sometimes 2 to 30. So it's like 1 to 15. And it averages out to just 10 minutes for each child in a period of 3 hours. Do teachers have enough time to care for each child and mind about the growing up? I believe you should first of all lower the ratio between teacher and students, so each teacher can spend enough time on each child, so we can really be a KG teacher, so that we can really implement the mission of affecting other people with our lives. Next one, Ms. Wang Xiufeng. I am a committee member of the concerned group on 15-year free education. I'm also a school principal. When C.Y. Leung campaigned for the CE post, I attended many education sector hearings. C.Y. Leung said that education is an investment, not an expenditure. We were very happy that he was of that view, and he was talking about investing in human resources. We got that point. Well, he wrote in his manifesto that he would implement 15-year free education, but today we are still going to just research into it. Over 200 KG workers have come out this morning to say we cannot wait anymore. In the electrical paper, we could see this point, that all kindergartens in Hong Kong operate as private organizations. As the secretary said just now, he was trying to clarify the term basic education. Okay, we wouldn't like to dwell on that with you, but would really like to tell the secretary that ECE is really the basics of basic education. If we do not do it well today, how can you build on it? How can you further educate our young people? In fact, we are talking about interfacing with primary 1. And in fact, the lack of interfacing has to do with the curriculum. The secretary said that he had an overseas visit, and now he has learned something. He said that ECE should start with the definition of education, and that we should start our thinking process from that. We agree with you, but let me also say that is it that ECE workers have never thought about this? I can tell you this here. In 1999, I took part in the curriculum development of the Education Bureau. I was the chairman of that committee, and we thought that there could be some change come the millennium, and therefore we put in some performance indicators to let people know how well we have performed. And then today, non-profit making kindergartens have all passed the assessment under that indicator system. And also, the Curriculum Development Council has issued a new curriculum guideline. On a macro and micro level, we have already clarified the definition of early childhood education. It is just that we have never implementing it. I like to just make another point. Actually, at the Curriculum Development Council, all the working groups have discussed matters under the umbrella of basic education. So don't tell us that ECE is not part of basic education. Mr. Chen Wai-ho? Thank you, Chairman. I'm Chen Wai-ho. I'm the External Vice President of the Hong Kong IED Students' Union. I subscribe to what the headmasters and teachers have said. We are the biggest teacher training institute in Hong Kong. We are going to be teachers And looking at what the administration is doing to KGs, we do have misgivings about embarking on a teaching career. CY Leung is dragging his feet with regard to 15 years free education, and we are disappointed. We hope the administration will review the positioning of basic education. We should nurture our human resources from very young. In the year 2000, the Bureau released the reform proposals for Hong Kong's education system, saying that basic education is an important part of the education system. If that's the case, why don't you put more resources into it? Now we have the voucher scheme. But it seems you are dumping the responsibility for providing education to the market, and you are commercializing education. I think there is over-marketization. Now the curriculum is quite uniform, but the voucher scheme is not taking care of the different financial situations families are in. And the voucher scheme is such that the schools are subsidized based on their admission figures, regardless of whether they are whole-day or half-day schools. This is unfair. And parents now do not have a lot of choice because of the subsidy level, and I believe you have defeated the purpose of the voucher scheme. In the policy address, we see no light at the end of the tunnel for implementing 15-year free education. Why are you so stingy about basic education? And in terms of education expenses, you're just forking out an extra $480 million for training gifted students and who just have to promise that they would teach for 2 years after they come back. Why are you blind to the needs of KG sector? CY Leung said in his campaign for CE that he would put a priority on matters people regard as urgent. The voucher scheme is not going to be very expensive even if you expand it, and by so doing you can provide a better education environment to students. So what are your doubts about 15-year free education? We would ask you, therefore, that you give us the timetable for implementing 15-year basic education and also put more resources into the education system, and at the same time reviewing the problem-plagued education system altogether. Thank you. Ms. Zhang Po-shan, Chairman, Mr. Eddie Ng, and members and also fellow workers. I represent the St. Jerome's Catholic Kindergarten. I'm Zhang Po-shan. I'm the principal. All of us at the kindergarten subscribe to the 8 points in the Alliance petition. Today we stand with a united front to speak on what we require of KG education. My points are that you should give full subsidy and also to develop a QF for teachers. In 2007, you started the voucher scheme, and schools that benefit from the scheme should first pass the quality assessment, and also teachers' quality should be enhanced, and they should at least have a diploma. We are all very committed and dedicated KG workers. We make use of our own time in the evening and to pay for our own enhancement so that we can better discharge our mission and dedication. And the most important thing is we want to return the love of the children. 99% of KG teachers now have a certificate or diploma. Some of them are even graduate teachers. Some possess a master's degree. Now, qualification is never lower than that of secondary and primary school teachers. Unfortunately, you only ask us to improve the quality, and you ask us to work to your satisfaction. However, you give us no protection and you do not listen to us. You are unwilling to take up the development of KG education by providing full subsidy. In the PA, you give hundreds of millions of dollars to gifted students to study overseas. But do you have a long-term plan without any commitment on the side of the administration, without a proper salary structure? How can the administration make sure that such gifted students, after they have come back from their study, will be able to provide quality education to children? In the blueprint for reforming education in 2000, you have positioned kindergarten education as the stage of the laying of foundation for whole life development. However, we have only marked time without any development. ECE is just basic education instead of what the secretary said, that it is part of compulsory education, because it's still not compulsory. We would ask the administration to face up to a salary structure of teachers and commit to fully subsidizing KG education and implement it so each child will be able to receive good education by having teachers being respected and given the right kind of remuneration. Thank you. Mr. Tai-fai. Thank you. I represent the Labour Party. The PA says a committee will be set up to study the feasibility of implementing 15-year free education. We believe you're just wasting time. ECE is not just to look after children's education, but rather a wholesome development, a rounded education for children. Parents would have to nurture their children and then bring them up with a lot of effort. However, many parents work. They cannot spend enough time on their children to take care of them. And now, because of such difficulties, young couples prefer not to have children. And of course, children also lack the care they deserve. In terms of services for the children, in all aspects, the administration doesn't have long-term plan, whether we talk about nurseries or Department of Health or SWD, etc. The kind of services for children are so segregated. The Labour Party would ask the administration to take the opportunity to review your delivery of service for children. For example, you should allow all children to be assessed so that if they have learning difficulties, they are identified at an early stage, so that we lose no opportunity in supporting children with any kind of learning difficulty. And that should be nursing care for medium income and also low income families, so children are taken care of. And also, we should ask all departments to work together and integrate services for children between 0 to 6 years of age. There must be a comprehensive policy to make sure that our children grow up healthily. Thank you, Ms. Lai Kit-yi. Good afternoon. I'm from the College on Young Children Education. We believe there must be 15-year free education for two reasons. One, there must be QF and teachers must be guaranteed fair remuneration. Teachers think that it is not enough after getting a certificate. We must get on with self-enhancement. Many teachers know the importance of continuous studies and they do it voluntarily, even without government subsidy. Why is it that you do not place emphasis on professional development of KG teachers? You should draw up a very clear career ladder for KG teachers and provide subsidies, so you encourage and promote continuous studies among KG teachers. So KG teachers can have more room for development and also enhance the quality of teaching. And who will benefit in the end? Of course, is our children. Secondly, I think we have been enhancing our quality in recent years. However, there has been more pressure brought upon the shoulders of KG teachers. Our morale has suffered and our wastage rate has gone up. In order to lower the wastage rate and to achieve a win-win situation, I'm of the view that you should establish the professional status of KG teachers so that we know what we are heading for. There should be a salary structure to protect our salary level. With fair salaries, you can retain people and you can also attract quality people into the profession. We know that the importance of early education is that it is decisive for a person's growing up. However, you do not regard it as a kind of basic education. And also, you lack the determination and sincerity in implementing 15-year education.
We need to formulate policy. We should not stall. The government should provide a blueprint and implement 15 years free education so that we can open a new chapter. Mr. Xu Wanglo, I'm about to graduate. I support the 15-year free education. We need to acknowledge professional standards. So first of all, kindergarten teaching should now have recognized degrees. In the policy address, the chief executive called for a wider scope and deeper action. Well, we need more opportunities on the job training for professional development. The professional development is beneficial for healthy development of students. For teachers, they can enhance their professional standards. It is not just a job, it's a mission. And we can also establish our professional credentials. So we therefore need government resources and support in professional development. So this is our consensus. We also need more research and development in preschool education. Yes, we can make reference to overseas research, but Hong Kong society is changing. Like monster parents, having princess syndrome. These all affect overall development, teaching, and even the community values. So we need to have our own local research, and that can be conducive to healthy development, and ultimately the children will benefit. So government resources in local research is very important. Lastly, as with other teachers in waiting, so when we chose this as a career, it's not a job, it's a career. It should be sustainable. We should have a professional career. Stable and diverse development is our focus. In the past 15 years, free education was a dream. With the voucher system, is it a wish? And now, is it a hope? But we should not have false hopes. Aside from listening to teachers in waiting, the government needs to take action and implement a 15-year education. Ms. Chan Fengyi, I'm a kindergarten principal, and we support the Alliance 8 proposals, and we object to paragraph 5 in document 1, where the government wants to use the voucher to provide a flexible education. Well, education is not a commodity. it is objectionable that the government should raise such views. If it's market-oriented and profit-oriented, that environment would be an obstacle to quality education development. Some of our teachers have to face a lot of obstacles in the 5 years of the voucher system. The teachers had to upgrade their professional knowledge, and they had to manage conflicts in professional ethics. The government thought that they were giving parents more choice, but parents are not necessarily education professionals. They use academic results to assess quality, and schools will compromise to meet parents' objectives. So quality education is being blurred. 15-year free education doesn't mean we're negating market development. We want children to have equal access to quality education. Private institutes can provide an attractive service, adding public services aside from the private independent kindergarten operators is similar to the situation in primary education. I call for 15-year free education, and we want schools, teachers to play their role, to use their professional knowledge and to put education on the right track. A stable teaching team is conducive to quality education. Finally, on behalf of Teachers Alliance, I would like to speak on behalf of the kindergarten children who cannot attend this meeting. We will continue to fight for teachers' professional respect. Next, we have Sito Waiman. I'm from North Point Methodist Church Day Nursery. Now, even Eddie did not receive our letter, but we're still glad to have the opportunity to meet with him. So parents and teachers support the Alliance and their 8 proposals. In paper 1, paragraph 9, it refers to teachers' remuneration and sustainable development. The government should set a pay scale and a professional career track. A country's development relies on personal development, and one way to enhance personal development is through education. We need a healthy system in order to retain professionals. Teachers' professional quality will affect education quality, and a stable teaching team relies on a professional system. We need to maintain professional standards, ethics, and teachers should have their autonomy and social status. They also need professional training and career development. So a healthy framework should provide a reasonable working environment and reasonable remuneration and career development. The teachers have been teaching in less than desirable conditions, such as not having sufficient lunchtime, having extra administrative workload, after hours learning. Studies that indicate that kindergarten teachers work more than 10 hours a day, and they are exhausted. We have high staff turnover, a heavy workload. So studies indicate that teachers in schools find it hard to recruit substitute teachers and regular teachers. So there is concern in this area. So I urge the government to make reference to primary and secondary schools, and the government should have full subsidies to retain talent. There should also be a professional career development and supply of substitute teachers. I'm speaking on behalf of parents, teachers. We agree with the Alliance. We would like to see the voucher system scrapped. The government should subsidize kindergarten education. We agree that in the 2000 study, they agreed that kindergarten education was a foundation for lifelong learning. This is in line with the UN Convention that children have the right to education and they have the right to develop their full potential. But today, we're very angry because we heard the Secretary say primary education is not part of mandatory education. So, I would like the Secretary to make reference to Obama's administration, where in his State of Union address he said, for every US dollar spent on primary education in the future, if they can save $7 US on remedial education. So I would like our government to make reference to that initiative. And in Legislative Paper 2, the voucher system is supposed to relieve parent financial burden, but we object to that view because the voucher system does not achieve that goal, because we see it reduces access to education, because in Hong Kong we're seeing a bigger income gap, and every year the voucher is only increased in line with the consumer price index. It does not relieve financial burden for the disadvantaged. We see them falling further behind the starting point. Whether it's beneficial to the middle class, that's also doubtful. The middle class have a heavy burden, and the voucher is implemented in a market-driven format. So operating costs will only go up. At the same time, we see tuition fees increasing, and we are concerned that whether quality education is affordable by the low-income families. So we want the government to scrap the voucher system and shoulder the burden of 15-year free education. There should be long-term planning. Thank you. Ms. Lam Gamwa. I used to be a kindergarten teacher. Now I'm a teacher, trainer, and a parent. Between 0 and 6 years, these are the most important. This is the most important period in a person's development. A responsible and visionary government should be responsible. Education is not a commodity, and it should not be marketized. 15 years free education is just a start. By isolating kindergarten education will undermine our efforts. It's like having a weak foundation in a building. You should also respect professional development. Education is a cycle. Professional teachers will continuously improve. I have taken 300,000 and 8 years to move from QKT to getting an undergrad degree and master's degree. So our teachers have the will but don't have the means to further their education. The secretary wanted to set a minimum wage, and I was shocked that just that would deflate our morale. We need to enhance teacher quality. So please formulate a pay scale and provide a stable teaching team. Third, regarding setting up a committee, how is the government going to identify the qualified members? Please include frontline workers. Consult us and implement a timetable. Technical issues cannot be resolved through consultation. I support the Alliance proposals, unanimous voice, unanimous action, 15 years free education. Thank you. Ms. Delmeyi. I am Sai Kung District School Heads Association representative. We represent the secondary school, primary school, and kindergarten. We support the Alliance proposals. We are particularly concerned with kindergarten education. We need the SAR government to take the initiative and support, because with the government's acknowledgement, when the government formulates policy, they should start with kindergarten education. If kindergarten education is acknowledged, then we can have a good start. In this year's policy address, there's a call for further professional development, but in point 11, we are aware that in 2012-13, having a master's degree or relevant qualifications, these people number to some 3,400. And we have some more than 6,000 people with kindergarten education qualifications. So professional qualifications have increased over the last 5 years. But when implementing the voucher system, the teachers' remuneration was delinked from the government pay scale, and their pay was not safeguarded in the last 5 years. Our morale was severely affected. Workers also have to face a lot of pressure. The Education Bureau discloses assessment results, and that would affect staff turnover. So without experienced teachers, these will affect quality education, and that is Hong Kong society's loss. Lastly, I'd like you to understand that we have close to 50,000 signatures. These are silent objections. We're not just calling for 15 years free education. We would want to express that the SAR government should acknowledge kindergarten education. C.Y. Leung should live up to his pledge in his campaign. There should be actual implementation. Thank you, Ms. Lo Lai Fong. Good morning. I'm representing Evangelical Lutheran Church Social Service Hong Kong.
I would like to share with the Secretary and the Chairman about a case of a child in my KG. Last Saturday, we went on a picnic in Changchao. We were very happy that morning, and the whole team queued up at the pier, waiting to board the ferry. Now, in that process, the child learned about queuing and that activity. They have to buy a ticket, and then they have to pay attention to safety on a ferry and on the ferry, and then we could appreciate the beauty of the Victoria Harbour. And now when we arrived at Changchao, we would play games, and during those games a lot of the children learned how to face challenges, cooperate with each other, and overcome difficulties. They enjoyed this picnic so much. Now, after that parent-child activity, we strolled along the beach, played with the sand, and in that process we chatted with each other, the parents and the teachers. And in our chatting, we shared parenting tips, and also we tried to do some parent education. So for simple activities like these, we do that every day in the KGs. So that brings home the message that quality education starts from a very young age. And a child should receive good education from a very early stage of life. But then the voucher scheme has stifled the development of a healthy childhood education system. We urge the administration to immediately scrap the voucher scheme and provide a direct subsidy and full subsidy to childhood education. And 15-year education is a must. And we should treat whole-day KGs and half-day KGs fairly and equally and provide them with full subsidy. Now, in the transition period, the administration should also help the full-day KGs to cut down on the turnover rate and ease the staff shortage pressure, and also help us overcome difficulties in meeting with rising operating costs. Now, we said that some 3,000 graduate or degree teachers and 6,000 certificate teachers. Let's not forget that many teachers are still furthering their studies, and they have to shouldering over $100,000 in their study, and that makes it very hard for them. Now, on the day of the picnic, we have this ultimate objective. So all the parents, teachers, and children wore T-shirts telling the secretary that we want to fight for 15-year free education. This is our right. Next, Dr. Chen Wai-ling, Chairman Secretary, members and peers. Good morning. So sorry, excuse me for my sore throat. I was some 30 years ago was a KG teacher, and I was now a professor, and I speak on an individual basis today. I fully support the 8 proposals of the Alliance, especially point 5, and that is to establish a pay scale and a professional recognition system for teachers. And the 6th point, and to undertake localized education research. In his first policy address, the CE said that he would take practical steps to realize the vision of providing free education for early childhood, for children at a young age. If we have to provide a quality childhood education, the government should establish and promote continuing education and professional development of teachers. In the number 2 paper of the electoral paper, paragraph 4, the existing requirements are that the principals should attain degrees and teachers should attain certificate qualification. That's only basic. We hope that the administration can come up with a reasonable pay scale and a good teacher-student ratio, and then there should also be the establishment of a teacher training scheme and to nurture teachers training. I have read many different journals, and many studies show that the teachers' training is directly linked to the quality education for the children. Quality teaching is important to ensure that children are taken proper care, and that is also going to affect their development in their later stages of life. Now, the higher the qualification a teacher has, the higher is the quality of teaching. And if a teacher has good knowledge of teaching, then he will be able to provide appropriate training activities for the children and also enhance the children's thinking skills and analytical ability. So all in all, teachers play a pivotal role in the quality of education, and teachers also affect children at their early stage of life. So we should establish a good professional mechanism for teachers. Lastly, I want to mention that to enhance the quality of teachers and quality of teaching, then we should also undertake more research on education. We hope sincerely that the government can listen to views of different stakeholders, and we hope that the committee on KG education should be established as soon as possible. Next one is Ms. Wong So-Yok, Headmistress, Chairman, Secretary, members. I am from Hong Kong Soka Kindergarten. I agree and support the Alliance's 8 proposals, and I would try to focus on several points. First is to establish a pay scale for teachers. The various universities have the same entry requirements. So once these students have undergone training, I hope that they are given equal pay based on their qualifications. And I hope that the pay scale is a reasonable one and signifies a respect for the teachers. I hope that the administration can take the lead in educating children to respect their teachers. Second is about the staff complement. We suggest that the lower class, the teacher-student ratio is 1 to 10, and for the higher classes, 1 to 15. Now, in this staff complement ratio, the principals and the head teachers should not be included because they are involved in heavy administrative work like designing the curriculum, providing counselor service, and parent education. They could not afford the time to do frontline teaching work. So the improved staff complement, I hope, will enable the frontline workers to tackle their work effectively. I also hope that based on the school's scale, clerical staff and workers can also be hired. Lastly, I urge the administration to provide 15-year free education. Let's take a look at the primary and secondary school education model. They are in a very diversified mode. There are public schools, subsidized schools, and direct subsidy schools, and also private schools. So I believe that if the government has the resolve, I'm sure they can find a solution. I'm a founding headmistress of a kindergarten. I have worked in the field for over 20 years, and in the past 20 years, kindergartens have developed from a zero-subsidy model to a subsidized model, and now we are having this voucher scheme. The government has a huge fiscal surplus, and there is this team of enthusiastic workers in the field. I hope that the administration, you can be courageous and provide 15-year free education as soon as possible. Next one, Ms. Yang So-kun, Secretary, Permanent Secretary. Members, I am a service supervisor of Chung Mission of Hong Kong, Nursery School. I think the subsidized schools should not start from the primary school level. I believe the government should implement 15-year free education in Hong Kong as soon as possible. Many academic surveys have found that the age 0 to 6 is the most important period for a child's development, and it's important to provide a quality education during that period to lay a good sound foundation for their future life. And as what is said in the number 2 paper, paragraph 14, that can help them to move up socially, and that will bring benefits to the society as a whole. I've just received this electrical leaflet on the children's learning room in the electrical building. It says that students should be encouraged to learn about electrical and to build good values as a citizen of Hong Kong. So the electrical acknowledges the importance of early childhood education. So the government should bear the responsibility of providing childhood education, and it is obliged to safeguard the quality of KG teachers. And only then will we be able to provide quality education. Very happy that over the past few years, under the government's efforts, KG teachers are taking the initiative to further their studies and gain various qualifications. And in 2012 and 2013, over 90% of the teachers have acquired the relevant qualifications, and many teachers are still studying. Their qualifications have been raised. But in this privately run kindergarten market, they are not afforded adequate protection. Their remuneration lags far behind that of primary and secondary school teachers. So I agree with paragraph 9 of the number 2 paper. The point made there is that the review committee disagrees with the government's abolition of the normative salary scale. So the government should come up with a pay scale again. I think that means a lot to us, because with a clear pay scale, it means that the administration is recognizing the profession or qualifications of KG teachers, and also a pay scale will enhance or facilitate our professional development and cut down on the staff turnover, and the children stand to benefit ultimately. So I agree with the 8 proposals put forward by the Alliance. Unanimous voice, unanimous action. We will fight for 15-year free education. Next, Ms. Puan Siu-fong. I am from the Chung Mission of Hong Kong Social Service Company Limited. The Chung Mission has provided early childhood education for over 50 years, and we have witnessed the development of the sector so far. And we have seen the importance of whole-day KG supporting families. We hope that the government can implement 15-year free education as soon as possible, and also provide full subsidy to whole-day KGs. Primary and secondary school are considered basic education. I think kindergarten education is also a basic education. Over 95% of children will enroll in a kindergarten or childcare center, and the parents do see a need for such education. They don't have to be forced to take their children to such schools. So I think the administration should play its part and shoulder its responsibility and doesn't rely purely on the operation of the private market. We hope that the children should begin from the same starting point. Now, when we look at the 2011 report of the Women's Commission, the number of women working has been increasing over the years, and more married women are also working or joining the labor market. It goes to show that women who get married have to still work and stay in the labor market. And Hong Kong's achievements could not be made without the participation of these working parents. So what sort of assistance is the government giving to these parents so that they can have ease of mind when they are working? Whole day KGs are a good choice for the parents, option for the parents, and children can develop in a balanced way, and we enhance their self-learning ability and enhance their skills to explore the world around them. Now, with the implementation of the voucher system in the past few years, this system is very unfair to parents and teachers and children alike. There are many difficulties involved, and we persevere until today. And that is because we have the heart to serve the children, and we want to support our parents. We hope that the administration can implement the 15-year free education and come up with a timetable. And we also hope that the administration, that the full day KGs can be incorporated as part of the service model. We also hope that the government can undertake more localized education research so that we can grasp the needs of local parents and children and to do better planning on childhood education. Next one is Ms. So Yi Mei. Secretary Chairman, members, peers, I am the board of directors of 4 kindergartens. Our stance have been clearly spelled out in our written submission. We reiterate our stance that the government implement 15-year free education within 2 years' time, and then the administration also establish a good, healthy professional mechanism for the teachers, and then within 2 years, they should also be providing full subsidy to full-day KGs. The voucher system has been implemented for 5 years, and it neglects the needs of the whole-day KGs. It shows the government's neglect of the needs of double-income families and the needs of children for all-rounder development. Now, over the past 5 years, the voucher scheme has created difficulties for full-day KGs who have offer service from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and full-day KGs who offer places to integrated education places as students with special needs and so on. Our needs have been neglected. For these types of kindergartens, we have fewer holidays, and we don't rest all year long. And we're facing huge operation difficulties. So the association suggests that the administration should provide school-based special allowance for full-day KGs. And we also urge the administration to establish a pay scale for teachers and a professional accreditation or recognition mechanism. They possess degrees, master's, bachelor's, and master's degrees, just like any other teachers in primary and secondary school teachers. It's just that because they teach children at a young age, they are not respected like the other teachers. That's not fair. So we urge that the administration establish a healthy professional mechanism or system so that they get reasonable pay and opportunities to develop professionally so that they can deploy or use their potential to the fullest. Next, Ms. Esther Wong. Mr. Ng, Chairman, members and peer professionals. I'm a principal of a kindergarten. On behalf of all parents and teachers of my kindergarten, I urge the administration to implement 15-year free education as soon as possible. Mr. I don't know whether you are aware that there are a lot of children with one of the parents who is a local, and then a lot of children are in need of full-day school service, and there are so many double-income families, and there is a greater and greater need for full-day KGs. But then the vouchers, under the voucher scheme, the same subsidy is given to half-day and whole-day KGs, and that's not fair to parents who are in need of whole-day schooling for their children. All the teachers in my garden are also requesting a reduction in the teacher-student ratio. The existing ratio is now 1:15, and that also includes the principals and the head teacher.
Last week, we were subject to a performance assessment, and the headmasters was asked to be able to be fully responsible for everything inside and outside the kindergarten. You should be able to do administration and counseling students and liaising with parents. And we were asked how we could support children with special needs, how we could support the South Asians who are ethnic minorities, and even mainland parents. I'd like to ask the Secretary this question here. How do you support us so that we can support them instead of just dumping the responsibility on our shoulders? The ratio is 1:15, including the headmaster. On 3 days last week, we were inspected by the school inspectorate. Every day we went to school. Okay, we had to spend time with the inspectors. What about the ratio of teacher-students? At the time we were taken out of the classroom to talk to inspectors. If you also include the headmaster, does it mean the headmaster does not have to implement other policies? We only have 24 hours like you do, and we have to work both inside and outside the classroom. How do you expect us to have the time we need to execute all our duties? I hope you do some soul-searching there. I would support 15 years free education and fully subsidized kindergarten education. Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Pang Wing-Nei, teacher. Thank you. I represent the St. Andrew's Catholic Kindergarten. I'm a teacher. I fully support the 8 proposals of the Alliance. As a frontline KG worker, I face challenges every day. ECE is nothing simple. We need professional knowledge to teach children. We also have to do a lot of documentation work. How can we be confident in nurturing the young? I hope the administration will implement 15 years free education ASAP to show your respect to the industry and teachers, and also that you recognize our good work. Last but not least, Ms. Loretta Au. Good afternoon. I represent the Early Childhood Education Programs Alumni Association, Faculty of Education, CU Hong Kong. I'm the Vice Chairperson. I'm also the headmistress of a whole-day kindergarten. In our Alumni Association, we have graduates of headmasters courses. We have degree holders. We also have master's degree holders. So what I'm going to say will represent the voices of my members. C.Y. Leung announced his first policy address, and he said that the Education Bureau will set up a committee to look into the feasibility of 15 years free education. This shows that he is quite blind to the aspirations of the public and the industry. We register our disappointment here. We ask the administration to face up to the needs of having 15 years free education. Now that you have a handsome reserve, you should put some resources on the development of early childhood education so that we nurture the young who will be masters of our society. We are of the view that, first of all, you should take up the responsibility to provide education, starting with early childhood education. Non-profit KGs should be fully subsidized. I will state again that I'm talking about non-profit making, e.g. or KG, that they should be fully subsidized, so that you lay a firm foundation for KG education and also to make sure that public money is well spent, especially with regard to whole-day KGs. Working parents, and I'm not just talking about grassroots parents, I'm also talking about middle-class parents. On the Facebook, I have come across this so-called joke. Some people say that he is in the middle class, but he has a monthly salary of $300,000, and we work from hand to mouth. What are we? Maybe we belong to another class. Whole day KGs, as many deputations have said, have this story to tell, and that is parents don't even know how to toilet train their children. They may just not have the time to do it. And I can tell you this. They don't know how to train boys to go to the toilet. We hope you will enhance the establishment of manpower. Some people have centenary campuses, but let us look at the CU. We are a small campus, but we must provide the right education. And we are not just talking about teaching them knowledge, but how people can grow up as good people in society. Thank you so much. On behalf of the panel, I'd like to thank the deputations and individuals for your submissions. Secretary for Education, would you like to respond to the deputations and individuals? Secretary. Yes, Chairman. I will be brief. I'd like to thank deputations and individuals for your valuable views and also your very sincere comments. I can see it, I can hear you, and I can feel it. And I can also feel the urgency in your expressions. As I said in the last session, we will very soon announce the setting up of the committee, and also, as the chairman said, we will waste no time in starting to do this. Actually, within the Bureau, we work with one heart. We like to set up the committee by wasting no time. As some deputations have said, that this is going to be complicated. In fact, one deputation said we should work together. We at the Bureau may not be able to know the experience of frontline workers, so the committee is going to be representative. And let me reiterate that we would really like to actually embark on the feasibility for actual implementation. We hope we can really put in place what we have to do ASAP. Thank you, Secretary. We'll now have a question and answer session. I'd like to see how many members would like to ask questions. Hands up. Okay. Deputy Chairman, Ip Kin Yuen, Helena Wong, Kenneth Chan, Leung Kwok Hong, and Starry Lee. 5 members in the first round. 4 minutes each. Deputy Chairman. Chairman, the Alliance has brought 10 to 20 cartons of signatures to the Bureau, including the signatures of 7,719 teachers. What does this mean? In Hong Kong, there are about 9,000 KG teachers, meaning this is about 80% of them. Within just about a week or so, 80% of KG teachers put down their signature, meaning this time around it is a consolidated and unanimous protest of the sector. KG teachers, as I know them, are pure, simple, and childlike. They love children. They don't like to come to the Legislative Council. They don't like to stage marches and protests. But this time around, they are angered because C.Y. Leung cheated us. In the manifesto, C.Y. Leung promised something, but none of that came to pass. This time around, we could see only regression. Yesterday, Mr. Xi Jinping criticized C.Y. Leung. Well, he did not say that in those exact words, but then he said that you said the right thing, but the crux lies in wasting no time in implementing your proposals. If C.Y. Leung would like to salvage his reputation, he should start with KG education and implement what he promised in his manifesto. This is his opportunity for doing so. He must do a few important things. Number one, KG education should be regarded as part of the 15 years of free education. You should waste no time in researching into the feasibility of such. Next week, we have another chance. We have another go at this. I hope the Bureau can take the time to do some thinking and come back with more specific answers. Don't talk about feasibility and complicate matters. Just come back next week and tell us what C.Y. Leung said in his manifesto. What did he say? That implementing 15 years free education as soon as possible. If that is the task of the committee, then we are clear. What is your question? Number two, the second request, that the Bureau, in the interim, should deliver the second promise of C.Y. Leung, and that is to increase subsidy for whole-day KGs. Mr. Eddie Ng, even if your Chinese name suggests, you need not be too frugal. Let us spend money where it should be spent. Whole-day KGs should be given the subsidy they deserve. Do you want them to respond, Secretary? Thank you, Chairman. Before he went to Beijing, CE instructed me to set up the committee ASAP. I'd just like to tell you that. So the CE himself said so, that the committee should be set up ASAP. So you can rest assured that I'll do it and waste no time. Secondly, as I said, one of the working groups would speed up the consideration of full subsidy. And we're not just talking about the mode of giving subsidy, but also salary structure for teachers, and also professional development ladder for teachers. The working group will pay speedy attention to this. Dr. Helena Wong. Thank you, Chairman. I'm very glad to see so many education workers here today. You have made valuable contribution to Hong Kong's development. Many families rely on you for your support. The administration should recognize the good efforts made. However, the administration owes you a lot vis-à-vis what you have contributed. I have heard a lot of protests today. Some of you were near tears while you spoke. The administration has discriminated against KG education, I believe there should be a public apology. The administration has been trying to hit below the belt. Without any subsidy given, then you would have to operate in a very difficult environment, and there are a few nurseries operated by the administration, and parents had no choice but to go to private nurseries and KGs for help. The administration subsidizes primary, secondary school and university, even postgraduate studies, but not KGs, because you have been too tame, you have been too obedient, because you did not go to marches, and I can see some fire today. You call that a simple heart, but then I believe that also represents some fire on your part, because the administration has been refusing to act. Secretary, you talk about a committee, and I will need a timetable. The DP would support all the 8 proposals of the alliance. In terms of subsidy for KG education, well, I think this has everything to do with women's liberation, because women's labor cannot be liberated without nurseries, without subsidized high-quality KG education. Women's labor cannot be liberated. So, Secretary, you need to give us the timetable. And also, there have been many proposals to lower the ratio of teachers and students, and that headmasters and deputy headmasters should not be included in that ratio of 1 to 15. Secretary? Thank you, Chairman. Before the voucher scheme, we invested 1.3 billion into KG education, and without completing our accounts for the last year, you could see that rising to $2.6 billion. And as you said, 90% of teachers have been upgraded as a result of the implementation of the voucher scheme. This goes to show that teachers' qualification has been enhanced, but then it also exposed other problems that we had not known before. And I believe the voucher scheme has opened up all the opportunities for us to consider 15 years free education. Secondly, teacher-student ratio. This will be part of the review. This will be covered by one of the 4 working groups, which will look at the mode of operation of KGs. If the mode or scale of operation is different, what should be the manpower contingent? If we have 20 students, or if we have 700 students or 900 students, they may have to operate in different mechanisms. So that working group will look at student-teacher ratio. Chairman, the Secretary has not answered another point, and that is the headmasters should not be included in the ratio, and also the timetable. This will be related to the working group. We would like to do a comparison with primary and secondary schools, and we'll also like to take stock of the situation. Mr. Kenneth Chan, thank you. Chairman, I'd like to thank the deputations and individuals for coming forward today, so you state your views clearly with unanimity. You are striving for 15 years free education. Secretary, I do not intend to teach you how to be a bureau secretary. I cannot probably teach you to do so. But look at you. 50,000 people have signed up to support your efforts in implementing 15 years free education. If you would just say yes today, it means 50,000 people involved in the KG sector, including parents, are already throwing their weight behind you. And maybe you just have to attend to 6 to 7 issues. If you really intend to implement 15 years free education, you have to, of course, look at teacher-student ratio and also the voucher scheme. How should it be improved upon? And a salary structure for teachers, qualification framework. If we can get down to the specifics today, I believe all of us will be so much happier. And I'm sure everybody will be forthcoming with all the proposals and also rental subsidy, etc. That is not difficult because, in fact, the administration is giving rental subsidy to civil servants and also school bodies and teachers. So this is not an ideological issue, and it all just boils down to money. As I said, so many people are behind you. Just ask the FS for the money. Get rough if he refuses you. And he would say that education takes up 20% of our current expenditure. What does it show? It shows that education is important. And as the Secretary for Education, you should have this moral courage to come forward, especially when people's request is so unanimous and clear. You have to deal with the grievances and anger because it seems you are regressing in your stance. Let me put forward this challenge. I would be sending out letters to all kindergartens. I hope the kindergartens will help me by filling out the questionnaire so I can compete and race with the Secretary for Education in his work. Now, you said you would take 2 years to do the research and then you will do your consideration, but then I don't want you to drag your feet anymore because I don't know when you can complete your task. And as the workers were saying, they need 5 years to complete their university education, but then they have to wait till you are finished with your research work. And last but not least, I like to ask the question again. 2 years later, when you have done your research, how much more time do you need to do follow-up? Just like another topic that I'm fond of. Chairman, you understand about international schools. It is said that by the end of last month, the report should be completed, but now we know that there is going to be a delay of several more months. And these KG teachers, they have been spending their time and money to do self-enhancement in order to bring about changes, in order to fight for the rights of our children to good education. How can you be answerable to these parents and teachers?
Timetable. Thank you. I have said the committee will handle the questions you've raised. We already have a background paper, so I will submit it to the committee. But we need to work together. We need to share the background and experience. The Education Bureau cannot work behind closed doors, but I can tell legislators I am very concerned, and this is on the highest priority. So when we compile the report, we should have a high priority and timetable. The CE had already said this will be implemented. It is of high priority, but it's almost a year since his election. So what is he going to do? Schools need resources, campuses. Is there a plan? And teachers' remuneration and career development. Have you looked into that? On the parent side, aside from vouchers, what else do you have up your sleeve? And how are you going to resolve the conflicts between subsidies and vouchers? You need to answer all these questions. And on the student front, I think the students are doing a better job than you. A kid, his last name is So, and he drew me a banana because he knows that I like to throw bananas. So you can see how disappointed he is. You need to respond by the 24th. You're saying that there is a practical, feasible approach. Well, you need to act on your words now. All your response is yes, but, and further qualifications. Mr. Xi Jinping had made a humorous comment. The Baptist U campus was also a farcical development. So, if you say we have such and such qualification framework, you've mentioned implementing a practical, implementable feasibility study. Can you accomplish these by the 26th? Otherwise, you'll meet with the fury of my bananas. Well, I had said our work will commence as soon as the committee is convened. The papers have all the background information you mentioned. We now have some 200 million in rental subsidies. I already have a proposal for the financial secretary, a short-term injection of some 150 to 250,000. And after meeting at the end of January, we will further extend the educational qualifications program. So on and so on. So we're all ready and set and about to go. Ms. Starry Lee. Thank you for attending, and next Tuesday we have another session. I feel your disappointment and anger. As a matter of fact, the Education Bureau have basically not done anything. You had only pledged to set up the committee as soon as possible. I'd like to support you, Secretary, but if you're just saying that your only accomplishment is setting up the committee, then I don't think you'll be able to handle this request or political incident. From no subsidy, from 1.3 billion to 2.6 billion subsidies, preschool only takes up 7% of your budget. Then I don't see how you can satisfy the industry. Even I don't think anybody objects to 15 years of free education. The problem is money. So aside from setting up the committee, you also need to gather the funds. We talked about increasing the voucher value, establishing a pay scale, that takes money. So, aside from setting up the committee, you also need to enlighten us on where you'll find the resources and how you'll deploy these resources. Unless you're trying to keep it a secret, or unless you have a few more tricks up your sleeve. Otherwise, I'm very worried that how will you be able to satisfy these requests? So, what other preparatory work have you done that you would like to share with us? Thank you. The committee is a first step. We do have high priority items that we'll deal with. Well, if you only have 7% of resources, I don't think you will be able to satisfy our deputations. Okay? That's the current situation before the working group and the committee. So you will be able to add more resources? I didn't say that. I have to thank the deputations for participating. You've almost represented the whole industry. The secretary will convene a committee to collect views, but I think we've made ourselves clear today. Aside from the industry, we have 48,000 parents' signatures. These signatures indicate that their children are studying in kindergarten. Most of the families in Hong Kong have one child, so they are also speaking on behalf of other parents. We aren't even talking about future parents. A lot of new families are worried that they might not enjoy free education. So we do have strong opinion from the community. I hope the Secretary and CE are aware of this very vociferous request. In the ambit of the committee, could you refer to the CE's manifesto? Could you subsidize full-day kindergarten? Do we have to wait till the committee is convened? Do we have interim measures? Can you liaise with the finance secretary? Given such strong views, we would welcome some new ideas. We also heard some argument over the wording. So next week, could you clarify that whether kindergarten education is basic education? Or if you don't like that term, is it an important part of education? I think that's what we'd like to hear. You can respond next week. Thank you. you can still get funds for the budget. So there are many options. You can have non-recurrent expenditure. By the time you come up with an idea, you say there are no funds. Please find the funds. I'm surprised. Ms. Starry Lee is part of EXCO. You haven't asked the Finance Secretary for money. Please get the funds as soon as possible. It can be a one-off expenditure. You jump the queue by drawing non-recurrent expenditure for your pet projects. Or if you draw a non-recurrent expenditure, get the money, set up a fund, then you can start your work. You have so many supporters. Please start as soon as possible. Ask Tai-fai. He's a school principal. I'm not a school principal. You're a school sponsor. Well, you said that. Well, this is too late. Okay, any response? Miss Wong, pick one. Your working group, your committee timetable. Could you tell us how long it'll take to conduct your study on 15-year free education? The working group, the committee, will convene in April, and then we'll have 4 working groups start their work. They will deal with it, and I hope to receive their recommendation within 2 years. And this committee is made up of the industry. We'll deal with resources, and after the convening of the meeting, the working group and committee should come up with a timetable rather quickly. So I think when I have the information, I can meet with the education panel on progress. These working group members and committee members, will they include school principals, frontline teachers, parents, unions, and so on? Composition. I have to defer to the committee chairman. Yes. How many seats will they take up? What's the proportion? I don't have the information on hand, but I can tell you majority. The industry. in the education sector. So you've pledged that the composition of the committee will comprise industry members. So if he doesn't live up to his pledge, you know who to go after. So you need to subsidize 15-year free education, and you should not promote national education. Our committee will be made up of different stakeholders.
Because there are different associations within the preschool sector, and we might not be able to include every one of them. So in any case, representatives from different models of preschool education will be included. Now, we have some 900 kindergartens in Hong Kong, and I'm afraid that you would be going after me on my wording. So I would like to tell you that representatives from different service models will be included in the committee. In our plan, we also plan to conduct focus group discussions. So in other words, we would be sitting down with the representatives and discussing issues with them. Say, for example, we have this alliance which comprises representatives from 29 associations. It's impossible for us to include a representative from each of the associations. But I can undertake that when necessary, we would have a dialogue with the representative from the different sectors. Yes, Secretary, do you have anything to add? Yes, one last comment. Yes, you find the issue very urgent. We find it urgent too. So we would be proceeding as soon as possible. Now it's my turn to give my comments. Now, if the administration wants to undertake concrete work, the work has to be very visible. I'm not worried that you would renege on CE's promise. I'm confident that you would do that, but we are very worried about the timetable. We are dubious about the timetable. And Ms. Story Lee, an EXCO member, even said she is losing confidence on you. So I hope that for the 15-year free education, I believe that you would implement that within your term of office, but I hope that you can implement it as soon as possible. So I hope the Secretary, please, in the next open hearing session, respond to us in some specific concrete terms and talk about concrete work. And you should not hide anything from us. And if you do that, you will not be able to satisfy the demands of the sector. I said time and again that I will leave it up to the Committee on KG Education to draw up a timetable. But I think it's incumbent on you, the Secretary, to give indications on the timetable. And it should not be delayed forever. If we don't have any other members wishing to speak, we will declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you, deputations, for attending the meeting. And if you, deputations and individuals, have further comments, please submit a paper to us. Please also give us your speeches for our reference. So the next meeting will be held on the 26th of March, Tuesday, 9 a.m. Please be punctual, members. Thank you.